Stop eating turmeric with these 3 foods. They could be ruining your health. Turmeric, that bright golden powder sitting quietly on your spice rack, has become one of the most talked about natural remedies for older adults across the United States. Maybe you've already started adding it to your morning smoothies, evening teas, or even a warm bowl of oatmeal. And for good reason. Research shows that turmeric can help reduce inflammation, ease joint pain, support heart health, and even protect your memory as you age. But here's what most people don't realize. If you're over 60 and using turmeric regularly, there are 3 everyday foods you should absolutely avoid combining it with. These aren't rare or exotic ingredients. They're common staples found in nearly every American kitchen. Foods you may be eating right now without realizing that they're quietly blocking turmeric's healing effects. In fact, when turmeric is combined with the wrong foods, curcumin, the active compound responsible for most of turmeric's health benefits, can become difficult to absorb, ineffective, or worse, irritating to your digestive system and inflammatory. That means the turmeric tea, golden milk, or supplements you trust each day to support your joints, memory, or immune system might be doing the exact opposite, depending on what you pair them with. In this video, I'll show you the top 3 foods you should never eat with turmeric, no matter how healthy they may seem. Then I'll share 3 powerful food pairings that dramatically enhance turmeric's effects, helping your body absorb curcumin more effectively, so you can truly feel the difference in your joints, your energy, and your overall well-being. Before we get into the foods that can make turmeric truly come alive in your body, if you care about aging with grace, staying strong, and living with clarity, go ahead and tap subscribe, give this video a like, or share your thoughts below. Your small action could be the reason someone else discovers a path to better health today. There's a reason turmeric has become so popular among older adults. As we age, our bodies begin to speak more subtly. Your joints may feel stiffer in the morning, your digestion becomes more sensitive, inflammation lingers longer, recovery takes more time, and sometimes your memory doesn't feel quite as sharp as it used to. These are normal signs of aging, not failures, but they shape how we feel each day. That's why more and more people across America are turning to gentle, time-tested remedies, natural solutions rooted in the earth and used for generations, rather than relying solely on synthetic chemicals. And among the most trusted of these remedies is turmeric. You may have heard someone talk about it. Your doctor, a neighbor, maybe even a family member. You've likely seen it in capsule form at the pharmacy, in health drinks at the grocery store, or as golden milk at a local cafe. It's often praised as a super spice, and for good reason. The healing power of turmeric comes from a natural compound called curcumin, which gives turmeric its vibrant yellow color and powerful anti-inflammatory, antioxidant effects. A 2016 meta-analysis published in the Journal of Medicinal Food found that curcumin significantly reduced joint pain in people with osteoarthritis, with results comparable to ibuprofen, Daly et al. 2016. Many of my older patients have told me they feel more flexible, more mobile, and simply more comfortable after adding turmeric to their daily routine. Less stiffness, more freedom to move. But turmeric's benefits go far beyond joint relief. Curcumin also supports digestive health by calming gut inflammation and improving bile flow. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Medicine showed that curcumin significantly improved IBS symptoms in adults, Lopresti et al. 2010. For older adults dealing with bloating or acid reflux, that's a big relief. It also protects the heart. Chronic inflammation is a silent risk factor for heart disease. In a 2014 trial published in the Nutrition Journal, curcumin was shown to lower inflammatory markers like CRP in adults with metabolic syndrome, Panahi et al., 2014. And perhaps curcumin's most exciting promise lies in cognitive health. A landmark 2018 study published in the American Journal of Geriatric Psychiatry found that adults over 50 who took curcumin twice daily for 18 months saw a 28% improvement in memory and had significantly less plaque buildup in their brains. Small et al., 2018. But here's the part many people miss. Curcumin only works if your body can absorb it, and that's the hard part. On its own, curcumin has incredibly poor bioavailability. Less than 1% is absorbed into the bloodstream unless it's combined with the right supporting foods, Shoba et al., 1998. That means you could be taking turmeric faithfully every day and still not feel any benefits. Even worse, some foods can actively block curcumin from being absorbed, especially in older adults with sensitive digestion or inflammation-related conditions. That's why before you stir turmeric into your next tea or take your next supplement, it's essential to understand what not to pair it with. Up next, I'll reveal the 3 most common foods found in nearly every American kitchen that you should never combine with turmeric. These combinations can quietly do more harm than good, but once you understand them, you'll be able to take full advantage of turmeric's healing power. 1. Processed dairy products. The sneaky absorption blocker. You might not realize it, but some of the most common foods in your daily routine, like a slice of processed cheese in your breakfast sandwich, a sweet fruit yogurt, or a creamy cup of coffee, could be quietly undoing the benefits of the turmeric you take each day. Many older adults turn to turmeric to reduce inflammation, support joint health, and strengthen their immune system. But if you're combining it with processed dairy, you may be blocking its effects without even knowing it. The issue lies in how processed dairy products interact with curcumin, the powerful active compound in turmeric. Items like American cheese slices, flavored yogurts, powdered creamers, and packaged shredded cheese often contain a long list of additives, artificial flavors, preservatives, added sugars, and dairy proteins like casein. While these ingredients help make the food taste good or last longer on shelves, they can have a very different effect inside your body, especially when taken with turmeric. Scientific studies, including one published in Food Chemistry, Suresh et al., 2010, have shown that casein can bind to curcumin in the digestive system, significantly reducing how much of it your body can absorb. In simpler terms, your morning turmeric might not even make it into your bloodstream if you're washing it down with processed dairy. This becomes especially important as we get older. Aging naturally slows digestion, and many seniors already deal with acid reflux, lactose intolerance, or sensitive stomachs. When your gut is already under stress, throwing in hard-to-digest dairy only makes it more difficult to process nutrients properly. The result? Bloating, discomfort, poor absorption, and wasted effort. Imagine this. You start your day with turmeric capsules or turmeric tea, hoping to ease your joint pain. Then, without thinking, you eat cheesy scrambled eggs or pour sweetened creamer into your coffee. You might think you're making healthy choices, but in reality, those dairy additives are blocking curcumin from doing its job. The inflammation remains, the joint pain persists, and the benefits you were counting on? Gone, before they even had a chance to work. But here's the good news. You don't have to give up your favorite flavors or warm, comforting meals. You just need to make a few smarter swaps. Instead of dairy-based creamers or sweetened yogurts, try unsweetened, plant-based alternatives like almond milk, oat milk, or coconut milk. These are much easier on your digestion and won't interfere with curcumin absorption. And if you want to get even more from your turmeric, add a pinch of black pepper or a bit of healthy fat like olive oil. These natural helpers can dramatically boost how well your body absorbs curcumin without the hidden side effects of dairy. 2. Acidic or vinegar-rich foods. A harsh environment for healing. It's easy to assume that anything tangy or full of flavor must be healthy, especially if it's low in calories or made from natural ingredients. But if you're regularly adding turmeric to your routine, there's something important you should know. Certain acidic foods could be quietly clashing with it, creating the wrong internal environment for healing. I'm talking about everyday items like pickles, mustard, ketchup, apple cider vinegar, and even those bottled salad dressings that claim to be light or zesty. They may liven up your meals, but they might also be reducing the very benefits you're counting on from turmeric. The reason lies in curcumin's sensitivity to pH. Curcumin, the powerful compound in turmeric that supports your joints, brain, and immune system, needs a slightly alkaline or balanced environment to remain stable. When exposed to high levels of acid, especially from vinegar-based foods, curcumin can break down rapidly, making it much harder for your body to absorb. A 1997 study published in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry, Wang et al., confirmed that acidic conditions significantly degrade curcumin before it even has a chance to work in your system. This is more than just a chemical reaction. For older adults, it can translate into real health consequences. Many seniors already deal with heartburn, indigestion, or acid reflux, issues that vinegar-rich foods can make worse. So now, not only is curcumin's absorption compromised, but your stomach is also fighting discomfort, inflammation, and stress. You may feel bloated or irritated after a meal, not realizing it's the acidity, not age, that's making digestion more difficult. Consider this. You mix a teaspoon of turmeric into your morning smoothie or golden milk, hoping to ease joint stiffness and reduce inflammation. Later that day, you drizzle store-bought vinaigrette over your lunch salad or enjoy a pickle with your sandwich. It feels like a balanced, health-conscious meal. But inside your body, the acid in that dressing or pickle may already be breaking down the curcumin you consumed just hours before. The healing compounds you were depending on are weakened before they even reach your bloodstream. So what can you do? First, don't panic. You don't have to give up flavor. You just need to time things more mindfully. Try enjoying acidic or vinegar-based foods several hours apart from when you take turmeric. That simple separation can help preserve curcumin's potency. And better yet, start crafting your own dressings at home. A blend of extra virgin olive oil, a splash of fresh lemon juice, and a bit of freshly ground black pepper not only avoids the acidity trap, it actually enhances turmeric absorption. That's because piperine in black pepper and healthy fats in olive oil work together to help curcumin reach your cells more effectively. 3. Sugary cereals and packaged baked goods, the hidden enemy of inflammation. You might be trying to start your day right, maybe with a bowl of cereal, a granola bar, a muffin, or even a turmeric cookie you picked up from the store. But many of these seemingly innocent choices are loaded with added sugars that send your body a very different message than the one turmeric is trying to deliver. While turmeric's role is to calm inflammation, protect your joints, and balance your immune system, sugar does the exact opposite. It fuels inflammation, spikes blood sugar, puts pressure on your digestive system, and disrupts your metabolism. A landmark study published in Nature, Lustig et al., 2012, clearly links high sugar intake to chronic inflammatory diseases, weakened immunity, and metabolic decline, issues that become far more serious as we age. For seniors, the stakes are even higher. Excess sugar can worsen arthritis symptoms, impair memory and cognitive clarity, and increase the risk of insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. You may think that turmeric is balancing those risks, but if you're eating it alongside a frosted breakfast cereal or a sugary energy bar, the two are essentially canceling each other out. And what's most frustrating? Some food manufacturers now add turmeric to sugary snacks and label them as anti-inflammatory or golden wellness bites. But inside they're packed with hidden sugars, neutralizing any benefit turmeric might have offered. Let's take a closer look. Imagine starting your morning with a turmeric muffin from a health food store. The label promises healing, energy, and immune support. But just beneath the surface, that muffin contains over 15 grams of refined sugar, more than what's in some candy bars. Your blood sugar spikes, inflammation increases, and any curcumin in the recipe is lost in the metabolic chaos. It's a perfect example of marketing masking the truth. So, what can you do to support turmeric's mission in your body? It begins with choosing foods that align with its natural healing properties. Instead of sugary cereals, reach for a warm bowl of unsweetened oatmeal topped with fresh banana slices and a sprinkle of cinnamon. This combo stabilizes blood sugar while letting turmeric shine. Instead of packaged pastries, try a slice of whole grain toast with almond butter and a pinch of turmeric mixed in. Or blend up a smoothie with blueberries, a touch of raw honey or pure maple syrup, and a dash of turmeric, creating a drink that supports your digestion, memory, and joints without sabotaging the healing process. Your body, especially as it ages, deserves food that works with it, not against it. Turmeric is a powerful tool in your wellness journey, but only when it's given the chance to do its job properly. By keeping refined sugars out of the equation, you allow turmeric to reduce inflammation, support your immune system, and truly protect your long-term health. So the next time you reach for a snack or prepare a meal with turmeric in mind, Take a moment to look beyond the label. Ask yourself, is this food helping the turmeric work, or is it secretly working against it? Turn up the power of turmeric with these 3 everyday foods. We've already covered which foods can interfere with turmeric's benefits, so now let's flip the script and talk about what actually makes it work better. Here's the exciting part. You don't need any expensive pills or exotic powders to get more out of turmeric. In fact, 3 common foods, simple, natural, and likely already sitting in your kitchen, can take turmeric's power to the next level. These foods don't just mix well with turmeric, they actively help your body unlock and absorb curcumin, the golden compound behind turmeric's anti-inflammatory and healing properties. Whether you're using turmeric to soothe stiff joints, improve digestion, sharpen your mind, or protect your heart, these powerful combinations can make a real difference in how well it works. So let's take a look at these 3 turmeric-enhancing foods and how you can start using them every day to truly elevate your health. 1. Black pepper. Of all the foods that can enhance turmeric's healing power, black pepper is one of the most important and one of the most overlooked. It's a humble kitchen staple, often sprinkled without thought, yet its impact on turmeric absorption is nothing short of extraordinary. The secret lies in a natural compound called piperine, found in the outer layer of black peppercorns. While turmeric contains curcumin, the powerful anti-inflammatory compound that helps fight joint pain, reduce swelling, and protect the brain, curcumin on its own is poorly absorbed. In fact, a study published in Planta Medica, Shoba et al., 1998, found that when curcumin is taken alone, its bioavailability is extremely low. But when combined with piperine, absorption increased by a staggering 2,000% in humans. That's not a small improvement. It's a transformation. This matters even more as we age. Older adults often experience slower digestion, reduced enzyme activity, and a more delicate gut lining. All of these factors make it harder to absorb the nutrients your body needs. So even if you're faithfully adding turmeric to your meals or taking it as a supplement, it may be doing far less than you think, unless it's paired with the right companion. And that's where black pepper comes in. Piperine not only helps curcumin pass through the intestinal wall into the bloodstream, but it also inhibits certain enzymes in the liver that would otherwise break curcumin down too quickly. In simpler terms, black pepper gives turmeric the time and access it needs to reach your joints, your brain, your immune system, and actually make a difference. The good news? You don't need a lot. Just a small pinch of freshly ground black pepper is enough. Stir it into your turmeric tea. Add it to a warm bowl of soup, golden milk, or scrambled eggs. You won't notice much change in flavor, but your body will notice the difference in bioavailability. One more tip, use freshly ground pepper, not the pre-ground powder that's been sitting in the back of your pantry for years. Piperine degrades over time, and the fresher the grind, the better the effect. And if you take turmeric capsules, scan the label. Look for piperine or bioperine in the ingredient list. If it's not there, you may not be getting the full benefit of what you're paying for. Black pepper isn't just a flavor enhancer, it's a metabolic key. A simple pinch may be the difference between turmeric that passes through your body unnoticed and turmeric that actually gets to work reducing inflammation, protecting your memory, and helping you move more freely as you age. 2 healthy fats. When it comes to getting the most out of turmeric, there's one secret that even many health-conscious people overlook. Your body needs fat to absorb it. Not just any fat, but the kind that nourishes, supports your metabolism, and helps healing compounds like curcumin actually reach the cells where they're needed most. Curcumin, the active ingredient in turmeric, is fat-soluble. That means it dissolves in fat, not water. Without some form of fat present in your meal, a large portion of the curcumin you consume simply passes through your digestive system without being absorbed. But when turmeric is consumed with healthy fats, such as extra virgin olive oil, avocado, nuts, or plant-based milks like coconut or almond, it binds to those fats and slips more easily into your bloodstream, where it can begin reducing inflammation and supporting your joints, brain, and heart. This isn't just theory. It's backed by real science. A study published in the Molecular Nutrition and Food Research Journal, Gao et al., 2013, showed that co-administering curcumin with dietary lipids significantly increased its uptake and distribution in the body. In fact, in animal models, curcumin delivered with fat reached 7 times higher concentrations in the blood and tissues than curcumin taken alone. That's a profound difference, and one that matters even more for older adults. Why? Because as we age, not only does nutrient absorption slow down, but bile production and fat digestion also become less efficient. That's why the quality and type of fat you consume becomes just as important as the quantity. Processed or saturated fats, like hydrogenated oils, may harm your health and even contribute to inflammation. But healthy fats support your cells, protect your brain, and help carry fat-soluble compounds like curcumin across the intestinal wall. It's surprisingly easy to incorporate this into your routine. Try cooking your turmeric with a spoonful of extra virgin olive oil, blending it into a smoothie with nut butter, or stirring it into a warm cup of unsweetened coconut milk. Even a simple meal, like roasted vegetables with turmeric and avocado oil, becomes a powerful delivery system for anti-inflammatory benefits. This isn't about adding fat for flavor. It's about giving turmeric the support it needs to work. Without healthy fats, curcumin is like a key without a lock. But with them, it becomes an active force, calming inflammation, protecting your joints, and helping your body fight the wear and tear of aging from the inside out. Room 3. Raw honey. When we talk about foods that enhance the power of turmeric, most people don't think of something sweet. But nature has its own way of pairing healing with comfort, and raw honey is one of the finest examples. More than just a sweetener, raw honey is a medicinal food in its own right, packed with natural enzymes, antioxidants, and anti-inflammatory compounds that can work in beautiful harmony with turmeric. What makes raw honey so special? First, it's rich in polyphenols, a group of antioxidants known to reduce oxidative stress and support the immune system. According to a study published in the Oxidative Medicine and Cellular Longevity Journal, Ahmed et al. 2018, raw honey contains over 180 active compounds, including flavonoids and phenolic acids, which can help reduce inflammation, protect cells from aging, and even support cognitive health in older adults. These compounds, when combined with curcumin from turmeric, create a kind of nutritional synergy, working together to calm the body's inflammatory response and support overall wellness from the inside out. But that's not all. Raw honey also contains natural digestive enzymes such as amylase and invertase, which gently assist your gut in breaking down food and absorbing nutrients, something that becomes increasingly important as digestion slows with age. This means turmeric, when consumed with raw honey, doesn't just enter a friendlier digestive environment. It also becomes more likely to be absorbed, circulated, and put to good use throughout the body. This pairing has been used in traditional medicine for centuries. In Ayurvedic practice, a morning spoonful of turmeric mixed with raw honey, often called the golden spoon, is a time-honored ritual believed to awaken the body's natural defenses. And modern science is beginning to catch up with this wisdom. Studies suggest that the anti-inflammatory effects of turmeric may be amplified when paired with antioxidant-rich carriers like raw honey, helping to reduce joint pain, soothe irritated tissues, and support long-term immune resilience. So how can you bring this into your daily life? It's beautifully simple. Try mixing 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric with a teaspoon of raw honey and take it on an empty stomach each morning, a golden spoonful of support to start your day. Or stir the combination into a glass of warm, not hot, water for a soothing tonic that's gentle on the stomach and powerful for the whole body. Just be sure to use raw, unfiltered honey, not the processed kind from a plastic bear bottle. Raw honey retains its enzymes and antioxidants, while pasteurized versions often lose those healing properties during heat treatment. And if you're watching your blood sugar, don't worry. In moderation, raw honey has a lower glycemic impact than refined sugar, and thanks to its unique nutritional profile, it actually helps balance energy levels rather than spiking them. It's not about sweetness for taste. It's about sweetness with purpose. In a world where so much food is processed and stripped of its natural value, raw honey and turmeric together offer something refreshingly ancient. Real nourishment, gently delivered. So if you're committed to using turmeric for your health, don't overlook this golden partner. A simple spoonful may be all it takes to brighten your mornings and strengthen your body from within. I know, navigating health advice these days can feel overwhelming. There's so much information out there. But here's what really matters. You don't have to be perfect. Just intentional. You don't need to change everything all at once. Maybe tomorrow, you add a pinch of turmeric and black pepper to your tea. Next week, you switch from processed creamer to almond milk. Or the next time your joints feel stiff, you try a spoonful of turmeric with raw honey. These small steps add up. They become habits. And over time, those habits shape how you feel, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Because when you take care of your body, you start to feel more in control. You feel calmer, stronger, more like yourself again. And no matter your age, 60, 70, or beyond, you deserve to feel that strength. Aging isn't a decline. It's a chance to live with wisdom, purpose, and care. If this video helped you, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear what changes you're making. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone you care about. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take good care of yourself. You're worth it.